and we are seeking to do that.
Minister Morneau, back in March, shortly after this whole pandemic crisis rocked this country, you sat in this very Senate chamber and promised that your Trudeau government would deliver help for the oil and gas sector imminently. You said, and I quote, "I'm not talking about weeks, I'm talking about hours, potentially days." Well, 90 days have now passed since you made that promise, Minister. Almost 13 weeks and more than 2,160 hours. But who's counting, right? Well, I'll tell you who's counting, Minister Morneau. The oil and gas workers whose jobs were already threatened due to the anti-energy policies of your government. The small and medium-sized oil companies who can no longer afford to pay their workers because the aid you promised just isn't flowing. The withering and now shuttered small businesses and shrinking rural communities, and so many communities throughout my region of Western Canada, whose livelihoods depend on the very energy sector your government seems to have abandoned. When will the Trudeau government cut the platitudes and actually deliver for Canada's energy sector and the millions of Canadians who depend on it?
Well, thank you. This is a significant misunderstanding, and one that I think I should correct on the record. We need to be very clear that the programs we've put in place support all sectors across Canada, support Canadians really across the country. So the Canada Emergency Response Benefit is obviously for Canadians across the country. The wage subsidy is now, we have now 223,000 unique applicants with over a couple of million people on it, which is 1 in 7 Canadian employees, including significant large and many small and medium-sized companies in the energy sector. The Canada Emergency Business Account, we now have 680,000 applicants that have been approved, including more than tens of thousands in Alberta, many of which are in the energy sector. The specific program you may be referring to is the reserve-based lending approach with the Business Development Bank of Canada. And that program is also going forward, but did require some considerable details to be concluded before it moved forward. So there is aid flowing, there is credit flowing across this country to individuals, to businesses in all sectors, including the oil and gas sector, in those parts of the country where that's an important sector. So we'll continue to look to support all sectors, and I'm pleased to see that our measures are doing, in fact, exactly that. But as we find challenges, what we've tried to do is improve or change those programs to deal with those challenges, and that will certainly be our ongoing approach.
Your comments you made in the Senate that day are incapable of misunderstanding. You were talking about the energy industry, and your government's empty promises now won't pay the bills, Minister. You're 90 days late, and you're billions of dollars short. So the anti-energy policies of this Trudeau government have devastated the industry.
Senator Batters, I'm sorry, your 10 minutes is up.